Yes. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to this very February edition of Geophia Academy webinar. We're all welcome. Thank God for another opportunity. For those of us joining us for the first time, this is a monthly webinar that holds every last Friday of the month, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. A way to bring back to the society. And in these very segments, like I said, it's coming from Geophia Academy. Geophia Academy is a training center where we have classes and tutorials for Nigerian exam, preparing students for WAEC, JAM, GCE, NECO, and foreign exams like IELTS, GMAT, GRE, SAT. We prepare students for different exams. And in this very episode, we'll be talking on the topic, digital skills for Nigerian students and job seekers, digital skills needed in this very edition. Is so important that we develop ourselves and get ourselves ready to be able to run in the digital space. Also, we cover students for adult education and the computer courses that takes us from basic computer to web developmental courses, graphic courses, Excel, PowerPoint, video editing, as well as UI, UX, ethical hacking, app development courses, digital marketing. You are free to do online as well as physical sections. And the next 1 week, we'll be having our online courses available in the online space. So this evening, we'll be welcoming our facilitator for this section that will be doing justice to this very topic. Like I said, sit tight, share the flyer, share the link to someone, invite someone right now to be able to join on this free webinar that holds every month in the year. And this is February edition. And by God's grace, we'll continue as we get on. You're well welcome. And I invite Mr. Innocent Amaiku as he gets on with the first segment. God bless you, Mr. Innocent.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Innocent Michael, and I'll be your facilitator for today. All right, so today's topic is an important one, as well as timely one. I want to start by asking a question. My question is, if your phone disappeared today, would you still earn money? Just a simple question. Think about it. Everything we do right now is technologically inclined. Sometimes we do it from our phone, sometimes we do it from our computers. Even some of us watching this or listening to this talk right now, we are doing this on a mobile phone or on a device, digital device. So if your phone disappears today, would you still earn money? I don't know what the answer to that question is, because to every participant on this call, the answer may be different. So if you think about that, we would say that in 2026, your smartphone is no longer just a communication device. For some of us, mobile phones are maybe workspaces to us. It could be your marketplace. It could be a classroom, can even be your global office. The world has changed. And the same way has the job market So today we are going to be talking about digital skills for students as well as job seekers in Nigeria. So what are digital skills? Digital skills are the practical abilities that allow you to work, communicate, create, solve problems, and earn money using technology. This is what we call digital skills. These are also everyday skills needed for school and work. For example, using a computer or smartphone, typing and creating documents using Microsoft Word or Google Documents, sending emails, using the internet to make research, using Microsoft Excel for simple calculations, attending a Zoom meeting or webinar like this. These are all digital skills. Now, without these things I just mentioned, modern jobs become very difficult. So imagine not being able to send that internal email in your office. Communicating from this branch to the other branch becomes difficult. So these are some of the things we refer to as digital skills. You may be wondering, why does digital skills matter in 2026? Well, let's talk about the facts behind it. According to the World Economic Forum, over 44% of all job skills will change come next year. And over 800 million jobs globally have been displaced by automation. While 97 million more jobs are digital-related roles that are emerging. According to a LinkedIn report, it said digital and tech roles are among the fastest growing job categories globally. And remote work listings have increased over 300% compared to what it was 7 years ago. Now, we're looking at the facts. In Africa, Nigeria has one of the youngest youth populations. Over 60% of the Nigerian population is under the age of 25. So the reality is we have millions of young people graduating every year, but employers are saying we cannot find candidates with the right digital skills. What does this mean? This simply means we don't have a population problem. We have a skill gap problem. And learning this skill, this digital skill, can help prepare someone to fill those gaps. And this is exactly why we are having this discussion today. Because we're looking at digital skills, we are going to start with something very important, something anybody listening to me right now is currently doing. The number one skill I have on my list, because I just want to go straight into it without too much talk around the subject. The number one skill on my list is virtual collaboration. Virtual collaboration. We are all on this Zoom call. Because of that, this is a digital skill. If you're able to join this call, that simply means you have a digital skill to be able to collaborate virtually. But it's one thing to join a call. It's another thing to be able to participate. It's another thing to be able to collaborate. It's another thing to be able to get job done while you're at it. Virtual collaboration is important in 2026. Knowing how to work with people physically present is no longer enough. That's what virtual collaboration simply means. You must know how to work with people who are, one, in different cities, two, in different countries, three, in different time zones. Right now, it's just a couple of minutes after 4. If someone is in America, the time is totally different. So, all of this is part of the virtual collaboration. This is a part of the skills you need to pick up as someone who wants to collaborate virtually. So, that ability is called virtual collaboration. Being able to get job done or get things done, even when you're in a different city, in a different country, or you are in a different time zone. Virtual collaboration. Virtual collaboration means using digital tools to communicate, manage tasks, share files, and deliver results in remote or hybrid work environments. That's what it means. Many companies now operate fully remote. Some use hybrid, meaning some days you work in the office, some days you work remote. And this is distributed across different countries. An international brand, for example, may have employees in India, some employees in Nigeria, some employees in Uganda, sometimes in Argentina, spread all over the world. And now it's time for you to attend particular meetings, probably to assess the goals for the next quarter. How do you collaborate? Virtually. This is why virtual communication is an important skill that both students as well as job seekers must learn. Sometimes our job interviews are no longer physical. You're expected to set up these tools on your system or on your phone to be able to communicate, to be able to do the interview. How do you do that? Virtual collaboration and communication. By default, employers now assume you can join online meetings confidently, communicate clearly in writing, track and manage tasks digitally, share and receive feedback online. So if you cannot do any of these things I just mentioned, you will become a liability to a remote team. A remote team is a team that works without meeting physically. So if you can't do any of these things, or some of these things, you are considered a liability to that thing. Now, when it comes to looking out for people to fill a particular role, companies love candidates who understand how remote systems work, who don't need constant monitoring to get things done, people who can update task boards independently without supervision, and people who can communicate proactively. Now, what virtual collaboration show, or what virtual collaboration skills show, is one, responsibility. It shows that this employee is responsible. It also shows professionalism, organization, as well as maturity. For students, during the pandemic, we all were forced to learn how to use these tools. Some people are still left behind. Some students in school have not come of age to be able to use some of these tools. But I know a lot of students who were attending classes virtually. So virtual communication is an important skill you must have, as well as learn if you don't already have it as a student or as a job seeker. That's the first one. Still on virtual collaboration. Every student or job seeker should know one of these platforms that you can use for virtual collaboration is Slack. Slack. Slack is used mostly by startups, tech companies, marketing agencies, and even teams from any field. This particular tool replaces informal WhatsApp-style communication with structured team messaging. For example, if you're using WhatsApp, WhatsApp is not professional anymore. This is where platforms like Team really shine, where you can create different rooms and then give people access to the rooms they are supposed to be in. You can track communication, you can ship out announcement to the entire team or to just a subset of the team. This is a skill you should pick up. Now, being proficient with Slack means you can send clear professional messages, use channels correctly, share files and links properly, can tag a team member, like communicating by like mentioning or calling that person's name, can tag a team member to a particular post. You can use threads to avoid confusion. Now, I'm just giving a lowdown. I'm not going in depth into how Slack works. Basically, this is what is expected of someone who knows how to use the Slack platform. You can communicate updates precisely. So a task is given to you. How far you've gone with that task is supposed to be communicated back to the team. You can do that without any of these issues. This is how you know you are proficient using Slack. Another tool that is important is Trello and Asana. These two platforms do the same thing. Basically, what they handle is project management. Now, from a software developer perspective, if you have a project you are working on as a team, being able to pass information to every team member, being able to assign particular tasks to a team member or to a group is important. This is where tools like Trello and Asana really shine. Trello and Asana are used to manage things like deadlines, deliverables. This particular customer wants A, B, C, D to be delivered. How well can you deliver that? Well, you can. But how well is the project structured in that it is delivered on time? It helps you to assign team responsibility to a particular team or a particular person. So, to be able to use these two tools, you need to be able to create a task. So let's say this is task A, and I'm supposed to assign this task A to employee B. By the time the person logs into the platform, the next morning, the task is already assigned with instruction on what to do, deliverables. Once that task is completed, that simply means the person has done their job. So using tools like this, you can be able to track progress visually. So when I assign a task to employee B, I can see where the person is on that task. So Trello and Asana has 3 parts. One is called to do. That is your task. Then the other one is in progress. That simply means when the task moves from to do to in progress, it means that person or that thing is currently working on that task. Once the task is done, it now moves to completed, where, let's say, the head of development or the person in charge of that team can go in and take a closer look at what they have achieved. So Trello and Asana are important tools that you should also have in tool belt. The final one on virtual collaboration is Zoom. We are all using Zoom in this case, right? So Zoom is also similar to tools like Microsoft Teams as well as Google Meet. This is now a modern meeting room. This is where most companies have their board meetings without having to meet physically. To be competent with this tool, it means you know how to join a meeting on time. You know how to use properly video and audio, how to set them up, how to use them in the meeting. It also means you know how to share your screen confidently and how to present your slide smoothly. How to use the chat and interaction features appropriately. And then, finally, how to follow virtual meeting etiquette. There are times when you're in a meeting, somebody's mic is unmuted, the person is just screaming, or children are crying behind the scene. That is not how to use a virtual meeting application like Zoom. So what do? Make sure as you're entering the meeting, if your videos turn off, your audios are muted. That way, once you join and you are seated, position you want to be seated throughout the meeting, and I'll start turning them on if necessary. If it's not necessary, have them on off. These are basic virtual meeting etiquettes that you should have. When you become proficient with Zoom, that simply means, like I said, muting when you're not speaking, dressing appropriately if it's supposed to be a formal meeting, maintaining eye contact with the camera is another one, and then avoiding background distractions. These are the different things that we consider virtual meeting etiquette. There's also one other skill I want to quickly touch, so I'm not going to dwell on this much. Digital storytelling. Digital storytelling is another skill we should have as a job seeker as well as a student. Digital storytelling is the ability to communicate ideas, expertise, as well as insights in a way that is clear, engaging, and persuasive using digital platforms. It could be short form video, newsletters, professional content platforms. Like, it doesn't matter. Like LinkedIn, doesn't matter. But in 2026, attention is currency. We all know that. The people who can explain complex ideas simply and visually are becoming more valuable than those who only understand the idea, can communicate. So, digital storytelling is an important skill that you should also pick up. A lot of us are afraid of standing in front of the camera because we are asking ourselves, sound odd, I look weird. Everybody sounds weird and look odd the first time they saw themselves on camera. But over time, you build confidence and you become more efficient in communicating those ideas, in communicating those skills to people without fidgeting or having that fear at the back of your mind that every single thing you are doing is wrong. Digital storytelling is important. So why digital storytelling matters in 2026? Well, because like I said, we live in an attention economy. And because we do, millions of people compete on a daily basis for visibility on the internet. Employers, clients, even investors look for people who can communicate value clearly. Technical knowledge alone is not enough. So, if you cannot explain your skill, here's the thing, you are going to struggle to get hired. You're going to struggle to attract clients. You will struggle to build authority. So, digital storytelling skills turns that skill into influence. And this is the reason why people who have big social media following these days, they call themselves digital influencers or social media influencers. So, you must learn to cultivate your digital storytelling skill in 2026. The one I want to talk about next is data analysis, data science. This is important for a student or for someone who is looking for a job. You may need this. It's important. In today's digital economy, raw data is everywhere. Raw data is everywhere. Even if you're a business owner and you're on this call, if you are in the classroom and you're on this call, the attendance you have for your particular course or for your class, that is raw data. Can you derive insights into your student behavior from that attendance? This is where data analysis, data science come into the picture. If you're a business and you have your receipt or your invoice, and you have your purchase logs, even if it is written, or you have your Excel spreadsheet containing all your expenses throughout the year, that is what we call raw data. So we have raw data everywhere. From sales transactions to social media interactions, all of this are raw data. But having that data alone does not create value in any way. Data analysis and data science empower individuals to transform raw numbers or that raw data into actionable insights that drive decisions, strategies, and innovation. The Facebook we are on, where you connect with your friends, where you chat with people you've known years back, your interaction on that platform is what Facebook uses to improve the platform. The same thing to your WhatsApp. You may wake up tomorrow and there's a new feature on WhatsApp. The engineers working on WhatsApp didn't just come up with that idea overnight. They've studied how people use the app all over the world. And they've come to the conclusion, just by looking and analyzing that data, that if we could do this and add this feature on the platform, it will make our platform better. That's what we mean by having data and utilizing it. And that's why I also said that raw data alone has no value. It is what you do with it that matters. So for students and job seekers, mastering these skills is going to open doors to high demand roles in industries, from finance to telecommunications, to e-commerce, to healthcare, to technology, name it, in every industry as we speak, even agriculture. Decisions are made based on data available, analyzed, and then put into use as insights to help guide a particular company or even an entire industry on where next to turn their attention. For example, a couple of years back, 2-3 years back, AI was more like a myth. And then 2023, it became reality. And everywhere you turn, people are talking about it. And it looks like almost every tech company, one way or the other, is involved in using AI. Why? Because from the analysis, on the data, they see how people rely on this skill, on this technology. And because of that, every other person, some way or the other, is involved. So data analytics, data science helps us to communicate information we derive from raw data, then turn it into useful insight for our brand, for our company. So what is data science and data analysis? Data analysis is just the process of inspecting, cleaning, and modeling data to uncover patterns, to uncover trends, as well as relationship between this particular thing and that particular thing. That's just basically what data analysis is. It's basically analyzing the data you have at hand. But you don't just begin to analyze data. First of all, there are some things you need to do to make that data easy to analyze. Now, data science, on the other hand, is a broader field that combines statistics, programming, as well as domain knowledge. And by domain knowledge, we mean somebody who is a master of a particular field to make predictions, build models, and inform decision-making in that particular field, in that business. So the ability to turn raw numbers into meaningful insights that businesses or organizations can act upon is what data analysis and data science entails. Some of us may be asking, well, I'm not a computer guru. How do I pick up this data skill? The tools you need. Some of us already use some of these tools. Most importantly, the first tool, Excel. Excel is a skill that anybody can pick up. Anybody can pick up on the Excel skill. So Excel is one of the tools for people who are programmers. Python is another one. And then there's another one called Power BI. Power BI is from Microsoft, and BI is short for business intelligence. This is where you can take your Excel spreadsheet, pull it into Power BI. Then from there, you can use that tool to analyze your business performance. This is what Power BI is used for. Power BI and Tableau are not different. They're exactly the same thing. It's just that different names, but they do similar things. The easiest one here for everybody on this call would be Excel. So Excel is not just about data entry, because most of us use Excel to enter data. That's all. An Excel spreadsheet can contain inventory of your products from January to December. In that inventory, you add a column for the amount that was sold, the number of products that was sold, the amount it was sold for, the profit margin. You're already creating data. You already have data. So how about you use that same data to know which month in the whole year you sell more products, or which product sales spike. In other words, which product sales go up and in what particular month or in what time of the year. That helps you to stock up your store for that particular month, for the next year. So if we do that for this year and we create, let's say, a visual of that data or that sale for sales from our January to December for 2026, by 2027, we already have data that can help us forecast what our sales for 2027 will look like. That way, we're not going to have customers walking into our shop and asking for a particular product, and we don't have, because from the sales report and data from last year, it tells us that at this particular time of the year, this particular product sells more because we sold X amount or X number of products or of that particular product that month. So because of that, the next year, that particular month, we know that we are supposed to now increase the number of that product we have in store. That's basically how you can apply data science and data analysis to your basic company operations using Excel. Now, if you now go to Python, Power BI, and Tableau, it's a little bit like a step ahead of what Excel can do. But Excel is powerful enough to do some of these things we are talking about. To be able to work with data analysis and data science, we have some core skills we need to learn. One is data collection and data cleaning. Just like I said, if you have an Excel spreadsheet on your computer and you call it sales, on that spreadsheet, you can have different columns to represent important information that you need for your business. The shape of that sheet will look different depending on the business. But at the end of the day, you know that the columns you are creating helps you. Now, this is not limited to people who are selling tangible goods. Even if it is a service you are offering to your customers, you can still create this spreadsheet to help you forecast. For example, what month is the best month? Or at what time of the year do you have more customers asking for your service? It lets you know. So with that, that is data collection. You create the columns, you name the columns accordingly, you set the appropriate table types to help collect the right information. For example, if you are going to be putting monetary value on this particular column, you should make it a currency or an accounting type instead of just putting it as a number, or instead of just putting it as a text. Right. So with that, for every transaction that goes through your business, you enter that information there. You gather data from various sources. So for people who have, let's say, for a company that has a website and they are selling their products online, you can get that information from a website database. Now, APIs are advanced. I just put it there because somebody may be on the call that understands what API is. API is just simply application programming interface. It's another way of getting data from the website or from an online infrastructure. After you've gotten this data, the next thing is you need to clean the data. Why? Because if you get an Excel spreadsheet, chances are maybe this customer decided to enter their email address. The other customer may decide not to because maybe it was an optional field in the form they filled. For you to be able to work on that data, the data must correspond. Where you're supposed to put phone number and you're putting email addresses, you need to make all of those corrections. And then remove maybe the ones that are incomplete so that it doesn't skew your final result. So that is what we call data cleaning. So first of all, you collect data and then you clean the data. The next one is data analysis and visualization. Using tools like Excel, Power BI, and all of that, you can analyze these tools and then put it on the screen in form of a chart. It could be a pie chart, it could be a bar chart, can be a combination of different charts. And if you get into Excel, if you get into Tableau and Power BI, we have different types of charts. Even if you want to represent data using the map of a country, you can easily do that using some of these advanced tools. But the most important thing is this. For somebody who doesn't know how to use Excel, is there a way you can communicate these insights derived from your data visually that they can see it and understand? Because if you open an Excel spreadsheet, maybe what comes to mind is just going to sleep, because Excel spreadsheet is going to contain a lot of information. And sometimes it contains thousands, hundreds of thousands of rows and columns that is difficult for somebody to just understand just by looking at it. This is where Excel can really shine. So after analyzing the data, you have to present that data visually. Presenting it visually makes it easier for people to digest. For example, during the elections, you see there's usually a map showing who won here and who won there. That makes it easier for people to visualize and see how the election is unfolding in real time as the results are coming in. That is data visualization to make it easier for people to see and understand. Another thing we also need to work with data analytics is maybe programming and querying. The same thing, programming, querying, do query basically with some kind of programming tool. So writing scripts in Python or R programming language can help you to get advanced insight into your data. It can be SQL. SQL is short for structured query language. It is the languages that most relational databases understand. I don't want to get technical in this. I just want to quickly explain some of these things. So SQL helps you to query information. To query simply means to look for information inside of the database and extract meaningful insights. Another skill you may also need is your statistical and predictive modeling. Now that you have this data, you can now use statistics. For example, what is my average earning or my average revenue throughout the year? What is the lowest month in terms of sale for the year? All of this, you can apply statistics formula to it. And then you get your result. From that result, you make it visual for people to see. And then from that, you can predict, like I said, if you're able to do that for this year, using that information, you can predict what next year's sales should look like. It can even help you to know, oh, next month is March. That is the month I sell most products. Fine. This simply means this month, we need to stock up. That way we don't run out of products. Predictive. To be able to predict what may happen. So data analysis and data science is a great skill for students and job seekers who can extract insights from raw numbers and are not only employable, but highly sought after across different industries. Before we go into the last two things I have on my list, I want to give a quick sorry. I want to quickly give room for Madam to tell us a thing or two very quickly before we proceed.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Innocent. Thank you, everyone that's on call this evening. This is Geophia Academy free webinar that holds every month, the last Friday of the month, just for 1 hour, thereabouts. So in Geophia Academy, obviously, it's a training center where we prepare students for different exams, Nigerian exams like JAMB at the moment. We have a lot of them in for JAMB preparation, also WAEC preparation, GCE, NECO, and foreign exams as well, including IGCSE, SAT, GMAT, IELTS, TOEFL, GRE, many international exams. We also coach students from basic computer to tech world, like what we are learning right now, as well as different courses taking off from zero computer to Excel, PowerPoint, including web developmental courses, front end, back end, digital marketing, UI, UX, ethical hacking, so many other tech courses. You're free to learn online or physically can also do home sections. In addition to that, we also cover students for adult education. You couldn't, maybe a lot of people actually did not continue their educational pursuit by reason of one thing or the other. You don't give up on yourself. You can return back to school. We have friends and neighbors around that we can advise. You can get back to school, take from basic learning into exam classes. So that's one of the programs. Also, we also help students to register for different courses, different programs, like NYC registration, Open University registration, several courses you can register online. We can assist all those foreign exams registration. And for those of us that joined us for the first time, I believe you would have seen this online or you got the link. Please do well to register for the course. The registration form was also shared so that we'll always get updates from the email. Just make sure you register. If you have not registered before, just fill the form. It's a way to also pick up our data, just like you're hearing now. We have to analyze the data. You have to also understand where we are, predictions there and there. So it's so important. And the good one and the biggest one is the fact that the online courses will be ready from the first week of March. We've been on this for the past few months, trying to get an online course. You can just, at the comfort of your home, pick up a course, go through it, and truly get equipped. And you can declare you have a certification as well that is attached with the online courses. You can register for any of the courses. On the first week of March, the online courses will be available. So we'll be sharing some of those links and information where necessary. So let's get ourselves ready. And then the year is still fresh. All the plans, all the agenda you have for the year, let's begin to run with them as students, as workers, as job seekers, as business owners, whatever have been the goals set for the year. Let's get ourselves on the move so that we can move on. Like I said, this program is coming to us from Geophia Academy. We do home lessons, we do online courses, online classes, we do also physical classes. So sit tight as we get on with these courses. And this is a monthly program. Wherever we end right now, we'll continue again the next month, the last Friday of every month, 4th of 4 p.m. every last Friday of the month. Let's get ourselves involved and share the link anytime it gets to you. Share the link and we'll continue to impact our environment and our society. Thank you so much for joining. Sit tight as we tidy up for today's section. God bless you. Mr. Innocent, we're good to go.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay. Now, I think it would be a crime for me to talk about digital skills to pick up for students and job seekers without mentioning artificial intelligence. In 2026, the digital divide is no longer about who has a computer and who doesn't. In 2026, it's about who can collaborate with AI and who is being replaced by AI. I know there's a lot of conversation that have been ongoing about the impact of AI and all of that. So for the Nigerian student or job seeker, AI is not a future technology. AI is the current engine driving efficiency in banks, hospitals, and creative agencies. So if you are not proactive about this, AI will not replace you. A person using AI will replace you. So I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence next. So, like I said, don't want to go in depth into all of this because of time. but how to use an AI model. We all know different models. We all know different AI platforms. On this screen here, we all know platforms like ChatGPT. We all know platforms like Gemini. Some of us are using Windows operating system. We also know the Bing AI. Then there's cloud as well. All of these are different artificial intelligence models that are currently popular and are currently being used right now. These different models work differently, and they give their level of intelligence are different. But the most important thing for me is, how do you use an AI model? To use an AI model, we have to follow a golden formula. And the golden formula is called RCDS. Let me just use the acronym, RCDS. So if you can provide the R, the C, the D, and the S to the model, then they're going to get a professional grade response every single time you enter a prompt. What is a prompt? If you are using Google, it's called a search or a query or a term, short for terminology. Now, when you are using AI, that thing you are typing into the AI platform is called a prompt. So if you include these 4 elements in your prompt, first, role, I'll explain. Context, you can call it data or task, and then style or format. If you can pass in these 4 things into the prompt, you are going to get a professional grade response. Some of the mistakes we make whenever we're using AI is we use AI as if we are using Google or we are using a search engine. That's not how to use AI. So what is R? With the R, we say R is role. That simply means, who is the AI? In other words, what role are you giving the AI to play in this prompt? Let me give an example. If I want to ask an AI model to help vet my CV because I'm applying for a particular role, this is how I will do it. First of all, I give AI the role it has to play. So this is what I will type. Act as a senior HR manager in a Lagos fintech company. What have I done? I have given the AI the role I want it to play. Then, number 2, I have to give it context. Context is more like saying you want to give a description of what you want to do. That description is, in this case, the context would be, I am a fresh graduate applying for a data analyst role during a high competition hiring season. This is me giving the AI more context, more information about myself. Then, the next one is to pass in the data or the task you want it to perform. So what is the task I want it to perform? I want it to what? Review my CV. So what would I write? Review my CV. After which I will paste the CV or I will upload the document. And then the job description from the job opening. So we've passed in 3 information. We've given the artificial intelligence the role we want it to play. We've given it context about my situation. We've also given it data. This time around, it's not a task. I've given it data. And finally, style or format. This style and format is how I want the response to be. So then finally, I will enter the prompt. Give me 5 bullet points of gaps in my CV and a 3-sentence summary of my LinkedIn about section. Let's forget about the last part. Let's focus on the first part of it. Give me 5 bullet points of gaps in my CV. If I enter this prompt, I have catered to the 4 golden formula of using artificial intelligence. I've said, AI, I want you to play this role. This is my situation. This is the information I want you to work with. And this is how I want you to present the information. With this, the AI will give me a professional grade response to that prompt. But some of us, this is what we will write instead. Write a CV for me. I am applying for a job for this particular role. There's no context. There's no role. There's no style or format. The only thing we give is just a task. This way, what you're going to get back is a generic response. A response that somebody sees that CV and the person, there's nothing serious in there. So, with AI, you need to consider these 4 things. So let's look at the prompt again. The first part in blue is the role. Act as a senior HR manager in a Lagos fintech firm. That ... you want to can put the name of the company. Review my CV. This is where you paste the CV or you upload the CV and then the job description. So here you can just paste the job description. Then that one is, looks like I made a mistake there. My bad. I made a mistake there. I think I repeated that twice. My bad. So the one in the red color is supposed to be, I am a fresh graduate applying for a data analyst role. Sorry, I made that's a mistake on my part. That's a mistake on my part. So thank God for technology. I can correct this in real time. So let's do that. I've made that correction. So I am a fresh graduate applying for a data analyst role during a high competition hiring season. With that, you've given it a context. And then the next one, review my CV, where you put in to supply the data. Like I said, most AI platforms have option to upload documents if you want. Could be an Excel spreadsheet, could be a Word document, a PDF file, an image, whatever you want. You can actually upload it there. So you put it there, and then you say, give me 5 bullet points of gaps in my CV. And then, of course, you can go ahead and put the last part, which is a 3-sentence summary of my LinkedIn about section. This is how we use AI. This is still on the basic level on how to use AI, but for you to be able to get good response from the AI agent you are using or the AI model, you must present it in this way. Back to what I was saying before. So first of all, I said you must give it a role. You must give it a role. After giving it a role, passing the context, you give it a task or data to work on, and then the format or the style of the output you are expecting. You put it in there. This is how you work with AI models. While we're at it, let's also talk about AI etiquette and fact checking. Please. With artificial intelligence, we've come to discover that a lot of people, or a lot of times, the response we get are recycled response, because there are so many people out there who are asking similar questions to what we are asking the AI model. Because of this, we get similar responses. And sometimes the response we get back, or the information we get back, they are just not correct. Sometimes they are misleading information. So every single time you enter a prompt, one of the things you should do is verify everything you've been fed. Because AI can hallucinate. In brackets, they can lie confidently. AI can confidently tell a lie and present it as facts. So every single thing you've been fed, make sure you verify. Always double check things like names, dates, and all of that. Next is data privacy. With data privacy, what I'm saying is this: never paste sensitive company data or private information into an AI platform. Don't do that. Don't paste sensitive company information or private information like your password and all of that. Don't do that, because every single prompt you enter into the AI model or the AI agent, well, the company you are using, they are getting all of those prompts. And when there's any kind of data leakage, it becomes a problem in the long run. Then, number 3, the human touch. Use AI to generate 60%, which is like your draft. But you must also provide the remaining 40%. Please, AI should be a companion, not something you rely on totally. AI should be a companion, not something you rely on totally. Because, like I said, the very first one is it can mislead you. And you don't want to give answers that's just generic, or answers that doesn't sound like you. You read through it, you make corrections. There's a way the response is presented. You don't want it, make those corrections, insert your own ideas into it, and don't totally rely on the AI agent. Now, before I go to the last one, which is going to be very brief, please, from what we've said so far, if you have any question that you want to ask, you can leave it in the chat. Just use the chat while we talk about the last item we have on the list. So if you have any question so far, just leave it in the chat, and I'll answer that in just a couple of minutes. Now, I also want to talk about e-commerce. E-commerce is a digital skill that students and job seekers should learn. I don't want to talk about technology, not talk about anything related to business in this webinar. So I'm going to add e-commerce. For somebody who is a, let's say somebody who is a business administrator graduate, well, e-commerce is important for you. For students who are looking to sell things while in school, e-commerce is important. Buying and selling goods or services online through digital platforms. Instead of doing it physically. So with e-commerce, you still buy, you still sell, but this time around you are doing it from the comfort of your home or anywhere you are. The way people buy and sell has changed for a long period of time, and it has changed permanently. So from fashion to electronics to digital products and services, businesses are increasingly moving online. E-commerce is no longer an option. It is the core of every business strategy. So for students and job seekers, learning how to run and manage online stores is a powerful digital skill that helps to create self-employment opportunities as well. Freelance as an income stream. For example, you know how to do one particular thing. The only thing you can do is to package it and make it an online business while you're in school. If you get a job as a job seeker, for example, with your e-commerce skill, you can look for a different way to help elevate the company using your e-commerce skills. So this means you are adding immediate value to your employers. Because e-commerce combines marketing, analytics, customer service, as well as operations into one practical revenue generating skill. So e-commerce is important, and it is also very, very powerful. So for some of us who are thinking, well, how do we get started with e-commerce? E-commerce can be in form of learning how to use a platform like Shopify, or learning how to build simple online stores using WordPress. With this, in a day, your business is online. With this, in a day, your business is online. So this is what e-commerce is about. So with e-commerce, you can easily get that idea online very quickly. And then, of course, operations and customer experience is one of the things that you also need to be able to keep an e-commerce platform or an e-commerce store running. Behind every successful online store, there is a strong operational management, things like order processing, inventory tracking. Inventory is simply the products you have and you are selling, how you keep track of it is what inventory is. Logistics and coordination. For example, with a tool like WordPress, you can easily configure shipping. For example, your business is in Lagos, somebody from Abuja just ordered. In your online store, you can simply include the shipping cost. So if somebody in Lagos order, the shipping cost is different from someone in Abuja. All of this can be incorporated into your e-commerce workflow. So customer experience, as we say, determines repeat sales and long-term growth or customer loyalty. So once you incorporate good customer experience into your business or into your e-commerce effort, everything is just going to be easy. And on this, I've come to the end of today's session. Thank you guys for sticking around. If there's any question, you can leave it in the chat very quickly. And then we'll answer before we end today's webinar. If there's any question, you can leave it in the chat very quickly.
Okay. Who one has question? Thank you so much, Mr. Innocent. If you have further question after now, you can also send your message through the WhatsApp or the email platforms. Feel free to call in for more inquiries. For those of us joining for the first time or you've been here before, make sure you register on the form that was sent across. This program is coming to us from Geophia webinar group, and it's a monthly program. I wish you had a good time. And for those of us that maybe coming because of network challenge, this program is also on YouTube. You can go back to it on the YouTube to listen again. It's a basic needs that everyone needs, not just students, not just job seekers, even the ones that are at workspace, the company owners, business owners. You need each of these tools to be able to navigate in the digital age. It's so important. Like you mentioned, the online courses will be made available in the new month. So watch out for the online courses and get yourself more equipped to be able to face the digital world. It's no going back. The world is moving and we just have to get ourselves trained. Like from Geophia, you can learn online, you can learn physical, you can also learn, do a home section, anyone that is convenient for you. But by all means, make sure there is one digital tool you're engaging yourself with, you're learning day after day. So this period is in Geophia is a busy time with JAMB students, tutorials going and getting ready for the main exam. Like we said, the tutorial center where we prepare students for basic exams, Nigerian exams covering WAEC, JAMB, GCE, NECO, including foreign exams, IELTS, TOEFL, SAT, GMAT, GRE. You're free to call for any of those courses. Many are preparing to travel out. There are basic exams you must go through. Let's get ourselves ready. You have people that need to learn basic computer from just zero computer. You can learn. You heard from the course as well, the data analysis, digital courses you can learn. Let's get ourselves ready to also learn each and every one of these courses. Like I said, please register for the course, register for in the forms so that we can always get back to you with updates whenever there is a new program and a new course that is aligned. Like we said, the online courses will be made available in this new month. Let's watch out for the online courses and put ourselves together to be a part of it. And just like I said, it's a monthly program. We'll see again the last Friday in the month of March, the same time, 4 p.m. Let's get also the link shared with your friends. Invite someone so that we'll all move on with this digital space so that we'll not be thrown out of business, thrown out of work relevant, and rather be much more useful and also relevant in our circle. Thank you so much for joining. God bless you, and I thank our facilitator and also as many that are on the crew, the team coordinating the whole programs. We appreciate everyone, and we trust that the Lord will help us to also gather again next month in another exciting section. God bless you and have a beautiful weekend. Thank you.